Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies. And this is Self-Mastery and Education by Orval Graves, M.A., F.R.C., Dean, Rose-Croix University. An article taken from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 21, Number 3, April 1943. Self-Mastery and Education by Orval Graves, M.A., F.R.C., Dean, Rose-Croix University. Self-mastery, or the unfoldment of the mystical and spiritual life of every student, is a matter of education. Now, education is, at first, a matter of the study of the doctrine of the head. As one great occultist puts it, the experiences of others, their books, and the findings of science in the laboratory may all be classified under the doctrine of the head. The terms neophyte and student are used almost synonymously among occult circles. The term student implies one who studies. Raymond Andrea, our own Rosicrucian adept, as well as other great occult leaders, has stressed the fact that, at first, education must come by the way of the head. In other words, the average student of mysticism must interpret the experiences of others, study the writings, and examine the facts of science until he will have reached such a point that he can boil down all of the many principles of the doctrine of the head into a few universalities. These universalities may then be used as gates leading into the teaching of the doctrine of the heart genuine. And true understanding and education of the doctrine of the heart is self-mastery. No individual student, no group of neophytes can be an exception to this rule except that they will have followed it in another life. Strangely enough, there are few, if any, helps, outlines, or suggested curricula for the pursuing of the doctrine of the head to be used by the average occult student. Bassett and Steiner attempted such outlines for children. However, the other known work on the subject of esoteric education, or the unfoldment through the study of the doctrine of the head, is the rare work written by the European Rosicrucian J.B. Kerning. In this work, Kerning, interpreting a technique of constantly joining mystical exercises with the experiences of everyday life, the teachings of books, and other precepts of the doctrine of the head. Such is the aim of the Rose-Croix University here at headquarters. There can be found nowhere, despite various attempts of some modern occult schools, such a condensing of the teachings of the doctrine of the head. Yet, at the same time, it forms a bridge for speeding up the crossing of the student over to the heart doctrine. Sufficient material has already been written in these pages about the curriculum of the Rose-Croix University. The Story of Learning, the University Catalog, which all interested persons may have for the asking, contains a full and detailed description of this most unique curriculum. In using the studies of the Rose-Croix University and self-mastery through education, one must necessarily take the initiative and override the circumstances of his environment. That which is said in Dr. H. Spencer Lewis' book, Self-Mastery and Fate with Cycles of Life, also can be said about self-mastery and education and their connection with the cycles of life. How many Rosicrucian members know that their 5th year cycle is the most excellent and propitious time for engaging in philosophical, metaphysical, and mystical studies? The first period of the yearly cycle is an excellent time for the undertaking of any study. Period number 2 is an excellent one for those who wish to study science and chemistry. People whose period number 4 of their yearly cycle corresponds of the Rose-Croix University session will find the subject of Rosicrucian healing an excellent and fitting subject. Further study of individual cycles as they correspond to the time of the Rose-Croix University, which is from June 21st through to July 10th, will reveal to the alert and intelligent members who desire to take advantage of all aids in self-mastery the best and precise subject they should choose for the Rose-Croix University. All members should get out their copy of The Story of Learning and challenge themselves. They should examine themselves and see if they are masters of themselves and their environment, enough to take advantage of the unique teachings of the doctrine of the head and heart as presented at the Rose-Croix University. Such procedure will not only help one to perceive his own need and the amount of willpower he possesses, but also to fully help him to evaluate the rare and worthwhile subjects taught at the Rose-Croix University. After all, Hermes Trismegistus, known as the universal instructor of mankind, has written that appreciation is the beginning of wisdom. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.